Hello everyone, I will be discussing about waveguides in this lecture. In the previous chapters, we have seen that the transmission line such as parallel wire line and coaxial cables are used for transmitting the signal from one point to the other point, that is from the source to the load. But as the frequency increases, that is in microwave frequencies, the transmission line becomes inefficient due to dielectric losses and conductor losses such as skin effect. This skin effect, it occurs at high frequencies. When the frequency is very high, the current will flow only in the surface of the conductor, that is the current will flow only in the skin of the conductor, and this phenomenon is referred as skin effect. So we need to go for an alternate, and a waveguide is another means of achieving the same goal. So let's see what a waveguide is. A waveguide is a hollow metallic structure which is used to guide electromagnetic energy through it from one point to the other at microwave frequencies. These waveguides are usually made of high conductivity metals such as copper, aluminum, brass, etc. And this waveguide can be of any shape, but the most commonly used types are rectangular waveguide and circular waveguide, that is, it comes from the shape of the waveguide. Apart from these two waveguides, and there is one more simplest form of waveguide called a parallel plate waveguide. This waveguide, it consists of two metallic plates separated by a distance d, and these plates have an infinite length in y direction, and the direction of propagation is assumed to be in z direction. And the analysis of all these waveguides will be described detailedly in later lectures. In this lecture, I will just go through the basics of waveguide, modes of operation, parameters, and finally the applications of waveguides. Now I will quickly spot the difference between transmission lines and waveguides. Transmission line operates from zero frequency, that is from DC to a very high frequency, whereas waveguides operates only above a certain frequency called cutoff frequency. Coming to the modes of propagation, transmission line supports only TEM mode, that is transverse electromagnetic mode, and waveguide supports TE and TM modes, that is transverse electric and transverse magnetic. I'll be discussing about modes in the upcoming slides. Next, coming to the power handling capacity, transmission line, it handles low power levels, whereas waveguides, it handles high power levels. The most important difference comes in attenuation. The signal attenuation is very high in case of transmission lines at high frequencies, whereas the signal attenuation is low compared to transmission lines in waveguides. And there are few more differences in the construction as well as shapes of these two. Then moving to the propagation of wave in waveguides. When an electromagnetic wave is launched inside the waveguide, the electromagnetic wave travels down the waveguide in a zigzag path, repeatedly reflected between the walls of the waveguide, and actually a total internal reflection takes place and the signal is guided through the walls in the waveguide. And moving to the field configuration, we know that the electromagnetic wave will comprise of both electric and magnetic field components. To determine the electric and magnetic field components, we need to solve Maxwell's equation along with the necessary boundary conditions. And there are four Maxwell's equations, but we will be using only two equations, that is the Ampere circuit law and Faraday's law. I am not going much detail in this lecture. So I'll be dealing the derivation in later slides or later lectures. The solution of the Maxwell's equation will give rise to number of field configurations. Each different field configuration is referred as mode. There are different types of modes. First, transverse electromagnetic mode. In transverse electromagnetic mode, both the electric and magnetic fields are transverse to the direction of propagation. And we have already assumed that the direction of propagation is in z direction. And here the word transverse means perpendicular. So the electric and magnetic field components will be perpendicular to the z direction. So Ez is equal to 0 and Hz it is equal to 0. Next, transverse electric mode. In transverse electric mode, the electric field is transverse to the direction of propagation. So Ez it is equal to 0. In transverse magnetic mode, the magnetic field is transverse to the direction of propagation. So Hz is equal to 0. In the hybrid mode, neither electric field nor the magnetic field is transverse to the direction of propagation. It means both of them will be existing along the direction of propagation, that is in z direction. So Ez is not equal to 0 and Hz is not equal to 0. Now I will list the parameters of waveguide. The most important parameter is the cutoff frequency. The cutoff frequency is defined as the operating frequency below which there is no signal propagation and above which the signal propagation takes place. And we have already seen that the waveguide will transmit the signal only above the cutoff frequencies. And the mode with the lowest cutoff frequency is referred as dominant mode, and some modes will have same cutoff frequency and these modes are referred as degenerate modes. The next parameter, cutoff wavelength. We know that the wavelength is inversely proportional to frequency. So cutoff wavelength is the highest wavelength above which the signals are attenuated completely. And next parameter is phase velocity. The phase velocity is defined as the rate at which the wave changes its phase as the wave propagates inside the waveguide. Next, group velocity. It is the actual velocity with which the wave propagates through the waveguide. And these two velocities are related to the velocity of light, that is the product of the phase velocity, and group velocity is the square of the velocity of the light, that is Vp into Vg is equal to c square. So next, moving on to guide wavelength, and we know that what is wavelength? So wavelength is nothing but the distance traveled by the wave. Here the wave travels within the guide, so here it is referred as guide wavelength. So it is the distance traveled by the wave inside the waveguide to undergo a phase shift of 2 pi radians. Last, one more parameter, it is wave impedance. The wave impedance is defined as the ratio of electric field strength to the magnetic field strength. And finally, the applications of waveguides. And these waveguides are widely used in almost most applications in satellite and radar applications. And this figure, it shows the application of waveguide in the satellite communication. So here this waveguide transfers the power from the satellite to the antenna. And what is antenna? So antenna is a device which converts your electric signal to an electromagnetic signal as well as the vice versa. It is nothing but a transducer. And one more application, it is used in microwave ovens. And this figure shows the microwave oven. Here you can see a component called waveguide. So this is acting as a part between the magnetron as well as this cooking chamber. Here this magnetron is a device which is going to generate microwaves. So this waveguide will transfer your microwave from the magnetron to the cooking chamber. And this figure, it represents horn antenna. And this is one type of the antenna. It resembles the shape of the horn, so it is referred as horn antenna. And this part, the feeding part, input part, is nothing but your rectangular waveguide. And these waveguides are also used in attenuators, phase shifters. And this figure, it shows an attenuator. And you all know that an attenuator is a device that decreases the strength of the signal, or it decreases the power level. So when you give an input and the output, the signal will have a less power. And this knob, it is a variable knob. By tuning the knob, you can adjust the level of attenuation. And thank you and happy learning.